Joining us now is Peter Ingram, Hwaiian Holdings CEO. Welcome back to the show, Peter. Good to have you.
Great to be with you today.
Well, while I'm sure you were disappointed to see that the CDC is still recommending against travel, even for vaccinated people, do Americans care? Are they following those recommendations? What do you see in the bookings?
Well, over the last several weeks, we have seen bookings begin to improve and show some momentum week to week. So we've been encouraged by that. I think with regards to the CDC's recent guidance for people with vaccinations, one of the things they did indicate is that they're going to continue to update and refresh those recommendations and be guided by the science and the data. And I think there's a compelling story to tell about the safety of air travel, that the message that we've been putting out for a while, that it is a very safe form of transportation. And we look forward to the continued evolution of those guidelines.
Hawaii is sort of an interesting case study, Peter, because it's so dependent on tourism. And you did that strict quarantine rule at first. And now I think you have to show a negative test before traveling to avoid the quarantine. Are you guys moving towards some form of having to require a vaccine passport, proof of vaccine, to enter the state?
Since September, we've had what is referred to as Safe Travels Hawaii program, which requires proof of a negative COVID-19 test in the 3 days prior to travel to avoid the quarantine. And that has allowed us to begin to see some recovery in economic activity here, and certainly been helpful for our business after some very, very quiet second and third quarter in 2020. The state's guidelines, I think, are also going to continue to evolve. I imagine that the state, and they have indicated this, that they are going to continue to look at the CDC recommendations with regards to whether a vaccine, proof of vaccine is sufficient to avoid the testing. And certainly, we look forward to anything that makes it that much easier for people to be able to access the Hawaii vacation. We know there's a tremendous amount of pent-up demand. A lot of people are testing right now. So we're eager to keep building on that momentum.
Peter, I note that you recently guided that you could be back to 80 to 100% of North American capacity 2019 levels this summer, which is surprisingly high. I guess, though, not the same as saying 80 to 100% of passenger levels or even revenue. What's the gap there between capacity and revenue relative to 2019 levels?
Yeah, I know when we had our fourth quarter earnings call, some people were surprised by that indication about our schedule. But candidly, we've just updated our schedule for April and through the majority of May, and our North America to Hawaii schedule is already going to be back in the high 80s% of our 2019 levels. So we are bringing back capacity. We are seeing good demand. We're still running somewhat lower load factors than we have historically, and typically, we're in the high 80s or low 90s on load factor before the pandemic. We are eager to get back to those levels. The pricing environment continues to reflect an environment where supply is a little bit ahead of demand. But we think as more people get vaccinated and are looking forward to getting back to some of the activities that they've missed out on for a full year now, that travel to Hawaii is going to be one of the ones that people really want to take advantage of.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.